Sea Monkeys, the ever-popular merchandise that was advertised in the late 1960s and 1970s in the increasingly popular advertising space of the American comic book. A medium of culture that was engulfing children's lives and formed a major part in their literacy and in their leisure time in general. Just imagine being the child looking at this page in the latest DC comic issue and wondering if by some chance one could collect a tank filled with an anthropomorphic royal pink fish family that would smile and wave at them through the glass barrier that separated their worlds. It was cleverly advertised with a picture depicting a happy family that had 2 arms and legs that descend into flippers with a seductive-looking mom who eyes you with pleasant subtlety. The cute-looking children grin with their father in merriment, looking quite long-legged and developmentally tall in length and slightly humanoid in appearance. To show an even more realistic perspective, the advertisement even displays a family all eagerly watching the silhouettes of the sea monkey family floating around to seemingly show a life-size scaling of the product. The advertisement boldly proclaims, "Enter the wonderful world of amazing live sea monkeys. Own a bowl of happiness," it reads. "Instant pets." In bold, red type it goes even further, so eager to please, they can even be trained. Price was reasonable, the directions easy enough, promised instant pets that would come to life in seconds when water is applied, and there you go, a bowl filled with happiness. You would cut the coupon out, fill out the address information, and insert the spare change that only a young boy would have on them and mail it out to the company. The wait would seem endless, but the promise of a bowl filled with live sea monkeys was enough to keep you hopeful. And yet, sea monkeys were not what people had expected when they arrived at their doors. Instead, they were in fact a very misleading advertisement. In all ways imaginable, a lie. An advertisement that depicted something that was not and could not even be possible. Sea monkeys were not aquatic beings or even primates, they were merely brine shrimp. Instead of appearing as this, they turned out to appear as this. And even beyond that, the booklet that came with it even revealed that the sea monkeys, or brine shrimp, were not going to magically appear in seconds, but would need 24 hours for the nutrient pack, advertised as a water purifier, which is a mix of salt, water, conditioner, and brine shrimp eggs, to dissolve in the water, which would allow the shrimp to grow as they can be difficult to see. And then a packet of eggs were soon supposed to be absorbed thereafter, after waiting 24 hours. Which contained eggs, yeast, borax, soda, salt, some food, and sometimes even dye. Instantaneously, the eggs would hatch, and tiny, translucent, weird-looking pink shrimp would appear and swim around the tank in near constant motion until inevitably dying a few days thereafter. So who was behind this trick to sell people, primarily young children, an artificial collection of tiny, short-lasting brine shrimp? Apparently in 1957, Harold von Braunhut noticed a certain species of brine shrimp, Artemia salina, in a pet store used as pet food, and discovered that brine shrimp can remain in stasis and freeze into a form of animation when water evaporates, a process called cryptobiosis. With the aid of a microbiologist, von Braunhut uncovered a system to combine tap water with other nutrients to revive the shrimp. Essentially, the eggs hatch instantly upon contact with water, which gives instant life to these slimy creatures. In dismay with their short lifespans, von Braunhut later conceived the idea of crossbreeding the shrimp with other kinds of species and changing the kind of powder applied to extend the life expectancy of the shrimp, which were then marketed as super sea monkeys. In time, he had successfully advertised these instant pets in comic book advertisements tailored to children as something more elaborate that would play on children's imaginations. These creatures were illustrated by various illustrators, including DC cartoonist Joe Orlando, who reimagined the shrimp as magical-looking beings with crowned heads and fish-like bodies bearing no resemblance to the straggly crustaceans that were outcome of the results. Harold von Braunhut came up with the name in 1962 after noticing their little monkey-like tails and had his lawyer patent the name. And this was not the only product von Braunhut peddled to deceive people. In many of the same comic books, he would sell X-ray specs, which were intended to be used to allow the user to go full pervert mode and see through a girl's clothes from a distance, or alternatively, see a person's bones through their skin. The glasses would do neither. They were basically just an optical illusion that diffracted light, giving the user two somewhat offset images. When the images overlap, a darker image is revealed, giving the illusion that a person is looking within their body, though the details projected in the advertisements are not noticeable at all. Some of the earlier versions utilized a feather inside the paper lenses within the plastic glasses. In addition to those two, he also sold various other patented inventions like crazy crabs, which were just hermit crabs, amazing hair-raising monsters that were just a card with a printed monster that would grow hair, which were just mineral crystals, when water was applied, and probably the most audacious product was that of invisible goldfish, which were sold with a glass bowl, handbook, and fish food. The fish were just imaginary and guaranteed to remain invisible. What people often failed to notice was the small print that gave a more truthful version of the facts. If anything, it taught people to not believe everything they read and to think more critically about what they were being sold. Amongst those other inventions, von Braunhut invented the Cayuga Agent M5, a type of weapon, a spring-loaded whip, used for people that needed a gun but couldn't receive a license. Von Braunhut conceived of hundreds of these scam products with questionable and misleading advertising, having obtained hundreds of patents. What people did not know was that Harold von Braunhut was a white supremacist. In fact, some of the proceeds he made from his inventions, including the Cayuga Agent M5, were distributed to the Legal Defense Fund of the Aryan Nations, a well-known white supremacist anti-Semitic group with a neo-Nazi ideology and a violent, oftentimes criminal history. All this becomes even more odd as von Braunhut was in fact Jewish himself, having grown up in a Jewish part of New York. He later changed his name to sound more German by adding a von to his surname. He became a household name to the Anti-Defamation League, who found that he had associated with various neo-Nazi white supremacist groups. Von Braunhut was known to have very racist beliefs toward non-white people, and despite his Jewish background, he had allegedly once said to an employee that Hitler wasn't a bad guy, he just received bad press. He had also financed a gun purchase to a Midwest KKK member and was listed in Aryan Nations meetings as a speaker for Aryan Nations events. While he never spoke openly about his beliefs to the press, it appeared that Harold von Braunhut's life was shrouded in just as much deception and mystery, and that he indeed was a neo-Nazi. The legacy of sea monkeys still lingers on to this day, and while they aren't as much of a popular sighting as they were in the 60s and 70s, they are still sold online and in select stores across the US, having been rebranded and sold by von Braunhut's widow. In the 1990s, the concept of sea monkeys was used as a live-action TV show that really never needed to exist in the first place. The story of a cleverly marketed advertising ploy that lured children to buy brine shrimp through the influence of an offbeat neo-Nazi affiliated inventor changed the dynamic of false advertising in media and brought memories to now grown adults who look back at an unusual moment in their lives when they were tricked into buying a product that wasn't what it appeared. Von Braunhut, much like his products, was not what he appeared either. And this all goes to show that not everything that appears what it seems to be is the real deal. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and comment to help us grow our channel and create more content coming your way.